I call to order the Town Council of Crewe, Virginia's regular council meeting, June 8, 2015. Could we rise for the invocation and pledge allegiance? Invocation by Ms. Dalton, the pledge by Mr. Fisher, please. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, citizens, for taking your time out and coming to join us tonight. We are going to begin. We have two open public hearings to hear. The first one is on the proposed budget for the town of Crewe for 2015 to 2016. It has been advertised in the paper that, and I will give you the summary. The town council, below the synopsis. Revenue for general funding is $1,568,300. For water, it is $801. Excuse me, $801,000. Sewer, $946,500. Airport revenue, $13,000. Cemetery, $3,800, and it brings it to a grand total of $3,350,600. We have expenditures that we are proposing under general fund, $1,643,193. Water, $845,635. Sewer, $824,472. Airport, $35,200. Cemetery, $2,100. So it brings our total to $3,350,600. So I will now open the floor up to any comments from citizens.
We have no tax increases in this, right?
No tax increases. Any comments from council?
Rich job to be a finance committee, and Wade and Tiffany and everyone who worked on it.
Do we have a motion to close?
So moved.
Okay. Second? Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we close the public hearing. Council, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so carried. Okay, now our second public hearing. This was also posted in the paper. And the purpose of the public hearing is to revise the Town of Crewe Code Section 42-66 entitled Cutting Grass and Removal of Weeds, etc. from Property. Specifically, the Town Council seeks to amend the provision in A1, which is, quote, any weeds, grass, plants, or other vegetation other than bushes, trees, shrubs, flowers of ornamental planting, which has grown to the height of an excess of 10 inches, to any weeds, grass, plants, or other vegetation other than bushes, trees, shrubs, flowers of ornamental plants, which has grown to the height in excess of 7 inches. The Town Council further seeks to amend the provision in 42-66C that states the owner or occupant shall be given 10 days to remove. 2, the owner or occupant shall be given 7 days to remove the initial violation and restore the property in compliance to this section. So now open it to the floor for any comments.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Maybe a dumb one. What if you have a period of heavy rain it can get to 7 inches pretty fast. Am I missing something here? In other words, it could be at 7 inches, and you couldn't mow it because the ground was so wet. Would the town take some kind of, before you issue that letter, would you understand? Because we went through a period of that not long ago. I mowed my grass last night, and honestly, some of it was 7 inches.
Yeah, we'll use some discretion in that area. This simply allows us under normal conditions, that it's quicker to react than we've had in the past. So, yeah, we certainly wouldn't expect somebody to cut if we had 4 or 5 straight days of rain. Yeah.
And then I believe the letter's issued once you reach 7 inches, and then you have 7 days following the letter to so should be.
That probably would take care of it.
Right. But it is possible that could happen, and if so, then we certainly.
Usually it's a drought, it's the other way around.
But are you also speaking of if it continues to rain?
Right.
In other words?
That was my decision.
In other words, you can't cut it because it's underwater. That's discretion.
Any other comments from citizens? Council?
I got one.
Yes, sir.
What percentage of it is landlords' property, rental properties that are, is majority of them or houses that are foreclosed and stuff like that? That's what
If you're talking problem yards,
yes. Owners.
I put them in the category of vacant, for sale. Very few, but we do have some that are occupied on occasion. But as far as percentages go, I would say all in all, the landlord is not generally a problem. It's vacancy and that type of thing.
That's all I want to know. Because I was going to say, if it's a problem, could we, instead of charging the occupant, charge the landowner or the landlord, and maybe that would help. Them,
in that case, we would charge the owner, not
in
the
that
tenant.
situation. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Council, any other questions or comments? May I have a motion to close? Okay, it has been moved. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second. Council, all those in favor by aye? Any opposed, like sign? Okay. Okay, moving into our normal council meeting, we are going to, first on the agenda is Detective Turner. She is here to present council and the citizens an update on our attempts to come to a happy, successful ending of the sad situations that have been going around in this area. And I know the police in the weeks that have followed since council meeting have been working on this. So, Detective Turner, I'll turn it over to you. And
Just give me a second. Let's back up. That light's not bothering you. Let me just just take a second. There we go. Well,
Can you see in the dark?
I can see. There we go. So we nicknamed this Operation Safe Summer because we thought that was an appropriate way to sum up everything that was occurring in the town. It is ultimately our goal is to save summer. So let me see if I can move that box. Whoops. In the last meeting, there was 3 main areas of public concern that got brought up, and these are our results from those meetings, or from our activities. The library and playground area was one of them that was named as a result from this past week of working overtime. The officers have been working from 4 p.m. to 12 midnight to help tackle some of these concerns. And as a result, in 1 week in the library playground area, there's been 9 summonses issued. 1 arrest was made. Indian Oak, there was 2 arrests made, and on Tucker Street we had 0 offenses on that street for this week. The majority of those incidents as referenced above are curfew, trespassing, disorderly, there was tobacco, possession, a larceny, and disorderly conduct. These are the ordinances that the officers have been encouraged to have 0 tolerance for. Of course, offenses are always up to officer discretion, whether they're going to enforce them or not. And it's usually based on how the situation presents itself and the reaction from the individual that the police are communicating with. However, these are the ordinances that the officers are encouraged to write on the town code. Of course, we utilize the Code of Virginia as well to handle things that aren't covered in our town code book. So we had a ton of questions this last week from everybody, from town council, from citizens. I met with individual citizens. I spoke to some on the phone. We came across some. People read Mr. Gunter's article in the paper and then had more questions. So I figured the best way for this PowerPoint is to answer some of those major questions. One of them, of course, is why didn't we just arrest all of them? And because we can't. And so I'm going to try to attempt to explain a little bit why we can't just go and arrest everybody and solve problems that way. It's not productive, but legally we're not able to do that as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about probable cause and what officers need to reach probable cause in order to detain somebody or to make that arrest. Probable cause, that's the exact definition or summary of a definition of it. It is the requirement in criminal law that police have adequate reason to arrest someone, conduct a search, or seize property relating to an alleged crime. And this all comes from the 4th Amendment. If you remember in grade school, I'm sure that there was one point in some kind of civic class that you talked about the amendments. And the amendments followed through to law enforcement. It's what we base all of our actions off of, is we have to follow the amendment. And that gives the right to the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects, and against unreasonable searches and seizures. We can't issue warrants unless there's probable cause. And so this whole amendment, you can read the whole thing, but that sums up what we're able to take action on the streets with, is we have to follow the 4th Amendment. So there's a few ways that we can meet probable cause to get enough evidence to take action against somebody. And one of the easiest ways is for us to see it. If we see somebody damaging property, if we see somebody cursing, if we observe them fighting, then that's the easiest probable cause to get. We don't really have to work very hard because we have 2 eyes. We saw it for ourselves. We write it down. We take them to the magistrate's office. It's a closed deal right there. Totality of the circumstances is another one. Sometimes that's a little trickier to meet because there's no one definition for totality of circumstances. It's just a totality of all the things that are going on that the police have to meet in order to take custody of somebody. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to see it, but we might have one witness, we might have a little evidence, we might utilize forensic evidence, and compile it all together. That's enough to make a case in court to reach probable cause that an incident did occur. And that means that more than likely than not, something happened. And then we have information provided by reasonably reliable informants. We utilize informants all the time. We have what you call snitches on the street. They don't mean that they're troublemakers, that they got caught and have to work off. Some people just like to be upstanding citizens and want to report everything to the police, and that's fine. We like those. Then we have some that have been charged criminally and want to help work off their charges and become informants in order to do that. So that's another way we can meet probable cause. We good so far? Mm-hmm. Okay. Another question is, why can't we just search all of them? Everybody, not everybody, a lot of people were concerned about the marijuana use, the cocaine use, alcohol use, and it would be great to just walk up to everybody and say, empty your pockets, or let me take whatever is in your pockets out. But unfortunately, we can't do that too. Again, it goes back to the 4th Amendment. So there was this guy, John Terry, many years ago. These officers watched these individuals. They were doing a stakeout, and so what the officer observed is this group of men. They would go up and down this business district area. They would stop, they would look, they would go to the corner, they would converse with one another. They'd go back, they'd look at it again, they'd go back and converse with each other. So the officer observed a pattern of these individuals doing something that they thought was rather suspicious. This officer worked that area for a long time. He knew what people did to case joints, before they were robbed. So he ended up stopping these individuals. The last names were Chilton, Terry, and Katz. He stopped them for suspicious behavior to check out what they were doing. The officer turned Terry around, he patted him down, and he felt what he believed to be a weapon. He stuck his hand into the jacket and pulled out a gun. He did the same thing with Chilton. He patted him down, felt what he observed, or what he thought to be a weapon, so he took out the weapon. The other Katz fellow, he didn't have a gun on him. So anyways, the officer charged both of them with concealed weapons charges. They went into this huge argument in court whether that was a legal search. Could officers do that? And this is a huge part in law enforcement history because it's what we now refer to as Terry stops. And that's what law enforcement does quite often, is what's called to as a Terry stop. Because the judge ruled that patting someone down for weapons was not unreasonable. That we have to take into the account the officer's safety as a whole when we're searching individuals or patting them down. They did, though, decide that there's a huge difference between searching and patting somebody down for weapons. So I brought my handy gun with me today, so we could do an experiment. Shirley, will you be my demonstrator?
Of course. What shall I
This is a red gun. It's a training gun. It obviously doesn't do anything, it's just hard plastic. So I'm going to let you put that in your pocket somewhere.
Oh, I'm right.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I got the wrong end.
There you go.
You would never suspect.
That's right. So we'll bring you up here so everybody can see here. What the difference between a pat down and a search is a search is if I were to just start going into our pockets and taking everything out. I can't do that. So I have to use the palms of my hands, or sometimes on the opposite sex we use the outside of our hands as well. But since you're female, I would use the inside of my hands to just pat you down just like this. And when I got to this area where there was a gun, I would say, oh, that's a gun. I can sit there and I can pat it as much as I want with my hand. I can touch it over and over and over. But as soon as I start going like this, I've then searched her. I can't manipulate that object with my hand. The only thing that the law allows me to do is to pat it down. So as soon as I pat and I feel that object, which by patting you can feel what a gun feels like, then I can then reach in and I can remove the gun from her. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the importance of Terry versus Ohio is it determine what police are able to do as far as searches, which makes it, in essence, very hard to just go and dig in people's pockets and take their marijuana out of them. But there are a few different ways that we can get around Terry stops. Search incident to arrest. Once you're under arrest, everything gets searched. Your wallet, your pockets, your pocketbook, anything that you have on you or taking with you, we go through it. And so that's a great way to find marijuana, illegal contraband, weapons, all that stuff. Search warrants is another way we can obtain things. It doesn't really help solve the issues that we're facing right now with finding marijuana, because we typically don't see somebody on the street and say, I'm going to go get a search warrant for that person, and then go back to the magistrate's office and return to them, because by that time the marijuana has been long gone, it's not going to be there anymore. Or consent and cooperation. This is very important with our community policing aspects, because a lot of the kids out here, if you walk up to them and say, do you have anything you're not supposed to have on you? No, 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 no. And they know that I'm going to ask and then I'm going to check. And if they cooperate with me, then, the next time I see them, they automatically do this, because they know that that's what I'm going to ask for them to do. And so that encourages them not to carry anything on them, because as soon as they see the officer, they know that they're going to ask, and so if they carry on them, then they're going to get caught. And so that's another way we can search. This one came up a lot with the juvenile issues. It's why we just can't take all the kids with us and kidnap them and take them to Timbuktu and haul them away. That's really small, but there are certain things that we have to abide by with juveniles, which are a lot different than dealing with adults. This is a list of things that we have to have in order to take a juvenile into custody with us. We have to have a warrant issued by a magistrate, which is the same thing as an adult. You can do warrantless arrests, but for the purpose of juveniles, you do have to have one issued by a magistrate. A detention order issued by a judge, intake officer, clerk of JDR court, which is the Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court. If they're in need of services and there's substantial danger to a child, we can take a child with us into custody at that point. If custody is necessary to ensure appearance, we had a runaway from Arizona one time, and although a runaway is typically not necessarily a detainable offense, you can, we had to actually detain him because we knew that if we let him out, who knew where he was going to show up next. So in that instance, that worked for us. If the offense committed in front of the officer and detention is necessary to protect the public, this goes for a lot of your firearms offenses or your breaking and enterings. You can take them into custody after they've shoplifted. Typically, you release them to a parent and then obtain warrants later, but you can take them into custody at that point. An assault and battery, weapons on school property, they've committed a felony, if they have escaped Department of Corrections, escaped jail or detention home, if they've run away from home, if they've left without supervision at night and is in substantial danger, or curfew violations. So custody doesn't mean that they go to detention. Custody just means that we can put them in handcuffs and put them in the back of our police car. So this is the kind of the process that juveniles and the police have to go through to get matters resolved. The first step is intake. So if we see them trespassing on the playground late at night, the first thing we have to do is we type up a report, and then we type up an intake report. And that just explains to the juvenile intake officer what we want from the situation, what we want with the juvenile, and what we want from intake itself, and how they should respond, or how we're requesting they respond from us. So they have two options. They can go to diversion, or they can go to court. Diversion, they're required to admit guilt to their actions. So if they say, I wasn't trespassing on the park, and I'm not admitting to that, then diversion's not even an option. We got to skip straight down to court. And then it's up to the judge to decide guilt or innocence in that case. If they do say, yes, I'm guilty of trespassing on the park, then it's up to the intake officer and community services to determine what kind of punishment they get. Right now we're doing 10 hours of community service for any violation on the playground. So if you're trespassing, if you're cursing, it's 10 hours for each infraction through diversion. The judge can do anything that he wants to do. He's the judge. He can find jail and community service, order them to programs. That's specifically for our substance abuse kids. So the tobacco, marijuana, and alcohol, they can be referred to substance abuse at that point if they'd like. And so this is the last thing, is how you can help, because we all have to get involved in the community. It's not just a police issue, it's not just a community issue, and it's certainly not just a town council issue. This is something that the community as a whole needs to work together for. And so the number one thing is, if you want the police involvement, you need to call the police. And we encourage citizens to call the police. If you see something, to say something then and now. We have a lot of reports of, well, 3 months ago, I saw this, and 6 months ago, so-and-so said this to me and I didn't like it. It's very hard for us to go 6 months back to help solve issues. We need to know when it's happening. Just last night there was a hit and run. The victim didn't know that their car was struck, but somebody witnessed it. Somebody saw the vehicle that hit it and they took off. They didn't report it till 6 hours later. Well, by that time they could be in Ohio, so it's very hard for us to help piece back together. It's very important for us to know when these things happen. It's also important for specifically town council to encourage people to come to us to handle issues as well. We have a lot of people come in and say, well, I told so-and-so on council that this is the problem that I was having, which is great. We love that people are open to communication. It does kind of cause a problem because not necessarily, you might not know all the questions to ask that person about the situation, or you might not be aware of everything that's going on in that home, where we can help piece it together as the information comes in. So we would encourage you to, in turn, encourage them to come talk to us. If they're not comfortable coming to talk to the police, then suggest coming with them to come and set up a meeting with us. We would be fine with that. Ask lots of questions. I'll talk really about anything at any time, any place. Day off, while I'm at work. As long as I'm not in court, I'm willing to talk. I know some of you contact me through Facebook, text message, phone calls. I really don't mind at all. I don't mind asking questions, and I don't mind giving answers to ones that I know. And last, sign up for Neighborhood Watch. I asked our Neighborhood Watch leader to come today, and he unfortunately had to work. But he has set up a great Neighborhood Watch program for us. It is really starting to take off. It is a wonderful open access line of communication for everybody to get involved with. When you sign up for Neighborhood Watch, it sends you this great welcome packet. You get a phone call saying you signed up for Neighborhood Watch, congratulations, welcome. You get a letter in the mail welcoming you, and then you get monthly newsletters. Those monthly newsletters tell you what we do. It's the same thing, the statistics you get in council packets. It just kind of informs the citizen about what's going on in their town. During the month, if there's something that comes up, like there's a rash of break-ins to vehicles, to homes, to specific concerns with children, Neighborhood Watch will broadcast that over automatic messaging. So you'll get similar to a code red on your telephone telling you that the police are having issues with bicycles being stolen, make sure you secure your property, that type of stuff. So I did bring you packets. The top letter is the welcome letter, and we do operate in English and Spanish, so that's a good feature. And then there's the newsletters in there as well. The very back page is a sign-up sheet where if you know of individuals that would like to sign up for Neighborhood Watch, just get them to fill out their information, and you can bring that to myself. You can give it to Mr. Jenkins, and we would be glad to enter them into Neighborhood Watch.
Detective Kennedy, would you tell council how the playground came about with having 6 no trespassing signs on it?
Yes, ma'am. I did have a meeting with the Commonwealth Attorney. There were some concerns that our sign that is currently erected outside the playground, which is more or less a rule sign. It's not necessarily a criminal sign. It's stating rules. I think it says don't put your shoes on. It's closed from X time to X time. It doesn't necessarily meet the qualifications as a posted sign for trespassing. That code section says that either you're told not to come back to a property or that it's posted at a regular point of entry. And so the way we got around that is we took no trespassing signs and put them on the corners of the entire lot and then on both entrance points to the playground to meet that standard in the code. I can tell you that 2 of them were destroyed pretty quickly. There were not necessarily just the 2 trespassing signs, there was trespassing and a no smoking sign. And we have an idea of who that individual was that did that, and he was subsequently arrested for a different offense. So I think that kind of solved it, although it wasn't charged. I think that was part of the issue that he was arrested for that night. So, but they're standing right now. That's all that matters.
They're back.
They're all back up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Council, do you have any questions for her? Any suggestions? Go ahead.
We're patrolling from 4 to 12, that's with the extra policemen.
Yep, we are doing it from 4 to 12. The very first night, I walked 2.5 hours and then rode the remainder. I did almost get hit by a drunk driver when I was headed back to the police department, so that was kind of cut short the first night to deal with the drunk driver. But yes, the officers have been walking on a regular basis and patrolling in these areas. We don't go far from here at all.
But I mean, this situation, we're having to pay for an extra officer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. It's all overtime for the officers.
Well, how long is that going to be?
This is going until the 12th, I believe, is the last day.
Then what we will do?
Well, I think that it's starting to decrease. I was out here at the playground and the library today. I spoke to multiple juveniles. I joked with them. They laughed. They saw me. I saw them. I've not heard any swearing. I've not heard of any disorderly conduct while we're present out here. I can tell you that we've gone through alleyways. We've sat up on the church steps over here and observed late at night. We've more or less hid in the shadows to observe, to see what we can find that somebody might not be as willing to do in front of us that we know that it occurs when we're not present or our police car's not sitting there. I think that it's improving. We've had 5 children were charged the very first night that we started this with trespassing at the playground, and news spread very fast on Facebook and through the younger community. Those were 12 and 14-year-olds that were trespassing at that time. So I think that it's starting to decrease. On Tucker Avenue, we had great reports from neighbors saying that they've noticed a decrease in incidents. And I think that reflects with the 0 offenses. Officers have not had a lot of trouble over there at all. So it's still gonna keep up, the officers will still be required to run through those areas as well. It just won't have a specific officer on this area. They'll have to go away to answer calls.
One of the things that we heard at the last meeting was that possibly one of the underlying factors was the wireless internet at the library. Have you found that to be the case? And if so, have we done something to work with the library to resolve that?
Well, I personally try to set up my Wi-Fi on my phone at 11 o'clock on 2 nights that I was here. And then I came in early and I stopped by before the library was open. I get to work at 5:45 a.m. and the Wi-Fi was not working at that time either. And I can tell you, it was last Saturday, I met with 2 men right out front here, asked them what they're doing, and said, trying to get the Wi-Fi, but it's not working, and they were told to leave the property. So I really think that that has been remedied, whatever way they chose to do that.
Great.
Council, any other questions? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Delegation from the public, citizens' comments. Do I have any? Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I appreciate all of the effort, especially from you. I wish that Chief Booth could be here today, because
He will be here shortly, but he has a commitment right now.
because unlike Officer Turner, he was here the whole duration of the park issues, and so he would be able to vouch that this has kind of taken place before, and we've kind of gotten back to the same thing. And you know, we speaking as please don't be back we speaking as me, I've tried very hard to be patient, and it's a nightmare. And so while I appreciate it, I know the town can't afford to keep an officer on duty just for the park. And I just want to know, like, are we thinking of other plans for the park at all? Is that an option?
We want to talk about it in continuous business.
I'm sorry.
We got ideas that we want to do, and we'll bring that up in continual business.
Okay.
And then, public comments will come back up and you
Okay.
let us
Okay.
know what that.
All right.
But yeah,
Again,
we
thank
had
you
a
so
meeting.
much, Detective Turner. Thank you to the council. I know that you are trying, but again, I've seen it all before. I mean, it may not all be the same faces and, you know, not exactly the same efforts. I think this time it was taken a lot more serious. But again, you know, we've upped up the surveillance at the park a time or two before, and it has come back to the same results, which is the nightmare across the street. So, thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Thank you. Okay, the consent calendar. Matters on the consent calendar are considered routine and will be approved by one motion. Any item can be removed from the calendar at the request of a member of council and may be voted on separately. Along with the consent calendar are the minutes for the regular town council meeting held on May 11th, 2015, the minutes of the budget work session held on Monday, May 18th, 2015, the bill sheet, and you have been handed an addition that we would need to have your vote on. The original total of the bill sheet was $86,745.21, and with the additional bills, it brings it to $99,439.02. So, council.
Just a quick adjustment there on the special meeting, we had the budget meeting.
Yes, sir.
It, in the block of bold motions, the second motion, I believe the intent of the council was to not include any proposed match for the HEAL grant as a line item in the budget. I just want to make sure that that's clear, because we had discussed and said that if we were to receive a grant, we could find money in the essentially the general fund, but that we weren't going to include it as a specific line item. And the way it reads, it says essentially that we're not going to have it in the budget. If that makes sense.
Okay. Any other additions, corrections? Something we're studying? call for a motion.
Make a motion to accept the minutes and the budget and consent calendar with the addition of the expenses handed to us tonight.
I have a motion on the floor that we accept the consent calendar with the correction to the work session budget minutes and the addition of the bills that were added to the bill sheet.
Second.
Yes. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Mr. Town Manager.
Thank you. Hadn't really talked much lately about the sewer project, so I thought I'd give you all a quick update. What you see going on, it looks like a whole lot of activity, and it is. There are two different major contractors that are involved with the town sewer project. Most of you know that's Tri-State Utilities and Anderson Construction, which is a little bit more under the radar. They've been doing a lot of the work at the sewer pump stations, and you don't see a whole lot of them, but equally as important. Both of these contractors have subs that are involved in various parts of the project, and you may see trucks or equipment with Lytle Utilities, which just began the end of last week, Piedmont Construction, and BLD Services. All three of these involved in various ways with the project, whether it be lining, lateral replacement and lining, and manhole rehab, and actual installation of new sewer lines. I would say the most intrusive portion has been right here between Pennsylvania and Maryland on the west side. They spent probably a week and a half in one block. They've now moved into another block. That is going to be ongoing for about 2 to 3 weeks. They're going as fast as they can, but they're running into some issues with rock that's causing them some problems. But I did want to thank the residents. We notified them in advance that this is going to be taking place, ask that they bring their trash out front, and if they use the alley a whole lot for parking, to revert to the streets. And they've been very cooperative. I haven't heard one complaint from any of them. They understand what's going on, and we appreciate their cooperation on that. Overall, the project is approximately 66 to 67 complete. And we're on schedule for September completion, so things are going well. Have we seen any results? I would like to say we have. Some of the rain events that we've had, although we haven't had a whole lot, we have had some that I can tell you right now would have caused issues if not in the system at the sewer plant. So far, so good. It looks like the flows are down, and what's being done is making a difference. Tonight we vote on the grass and yard ordinance, and that's still a major problem. We've cut several yards, and I can see several more that need to be cut, and some have actually come to it again. And I've said it before, say it again, you know, the town is not in the grass cutting business, and we're trying to find a way to get around this and satisfy the neighbors that rightfully have complaints. I would complain too, some of the yards that I see were next door to me. But taxpayers need to be reminded that when we cut it, it's their money that's paying for it. So I think it's up to us to find a solution. I encourage the vote on the 7 and 7, I'll call it, but that's going to help a lot. And then Tessie's on vacation this tonight. She and I have discussed already, I think she mentioned it in her memo, that we're going to be spending a lot of time trying to figure out how we can collect the cost of doing this type of work. Whether it be garnishing, wages, liens, any other form of collection that we can come up with, try to recoup some of the expense. The garbage ordinance enforcement has been going well. We've eased into that. We haven't really been out and slapped everybody on the hand and said you're in violation. We've given people time. In order to help people, we've been involved with assisting citizens with compliance of our ordinance by building very nice 3-can salt-treated wooden racks, and we're only charging for the cost of material. To date, I think we've sold approximately 18 racks. We sold a roof the other day to one of the local landlords who bought 12. So $100, and that's big. Doesn't sound like a big thing, but that's 12 more residents that are in compliance, and we appreciate that. And anybody can get these, and you're gonna start seeing them around and wondering where'd you get the rack? Well, it came from us. So
They are really nice and
Yes.
good quality.
guys are doing a good job
Oh,
with
it
that.
looks good. I see that one.
Last but certainly not least, we received or completed 2014 audit reports, and I am pleased to report they found no significant deficiencies. In fact, in my opinion, they didn't find any insignificant deficiencies. They did have a couple of suggestions, but overall the town was in good shape, and the copies of the audit are available in my office or our tab. Anybody wants to look at them, welcome to it.
Any questions for the town manager?
Is any letters been sent out to the grass cutting?
Yes.
Okay, the town attorney is on vacation, as Wade has stated, and she did give us, and it's in your packet, a memorandum. If you note the top, the italicized one is the grass cutting ordinance and enforcement. What Wade has just stated, she has in there on the what do you call these? They are still, that is in the process of being completed. And going on down, if you happen to have that, your page, the zoning, we have that on continuing business, but if you would see that in her second sentence, and I wanted to, suggest this to you, and you as council can make your decision, but it says, with council's permission, I am requesting to review and overhaul the zoning ordinance to bring it up to date with the Virginia code. And she also went down to say that she was also reviewing the other proposed changes in the R districts, and she will have an update at the next meeting. So when we get to continuing business, you might want to consider this, as opposed, it's up to you if you make a final decision tonight, but our lawyer has, this in her statement. And if you see on the code enforcement, on the second page, you will see that the next house that we are looking to come to some finalization and bring down, that case will be July 20th before the judge. And hopefully at that time, the judge will give permission for the town to tear that building down. And she's working along with the Lipscomb and Stratton project on easements. And as for the information that you might need to make a decision, if you want to change the time that we have elections, she has provided council with information right there of how it can be handled if you so desire to change it. So if you had not seen that before, that information is there, and I know I had put it on continuing business to keep the present in your mind that if you were going to act on it or not. And I think she had said that if there's anything pertinent that comes up between now and when we meet again, that Wade could get in touch. She is, able to be gotten hold of by phone and all. So if you have any questions for the town attorney, I know Wade can come to her. Thank you. Committee reports. Community development.
She had mentioned Lipscomb Stratton. I am working on drafting easements for this project, so when we get ready. Well, what we had was the pre-bid conference held on site at the Stratton, Lipscomb, and we walked around and went into the homes and saw exactly what they planned to do. All the contractors were very busy taking notes. And at the end of it, they have the 10 days that it will be posted for them to get their bids in, and this time has passed. We haven't received a notice of how it's awarded, but I'm sure we will be. And this is where the work begins, or what they say, the shovel hits the dirt. And so that's when the, Tessie mentioned the time for the easements and everything's going. And you will be pleased. Some big trees are coming down. And but that was part of the bids. Are you ready to take these trees down? But new homes, I was able to talk with the people. They're excited. And so this is a good thing.
Any questions? Economic development.
Thank you, Mayor. Briefly, the month of May was Business Appreciation Month, and I hope everyone noticed we highlighted a new business each day on our Facebook page. If anyone has any suggestions for another Facebook initiative, because I think people really enjoyed that, let me know. I've got a couple ideas I'll throw out at council, and we'll see if we can't get something going for this summer.
I thought it was very good. I thoroughly enjoyed
Thank you.
looking to see what next place you would feature. And so I know the people were bound to the businesses that, yeah, I don't know how many, what do they call it, hits, how many times somebody mentioned to you. So what is the percentage, do you know?
It all varied on business to business, but I noticed that some of them at the quilt shop, people were commenting and tagging each other to let them know that there's a quilt shop there. And the House Calls MD was another one that people really didn't know existed. And then there were just some others. Of course, Tasty Freeze got a lot of likes because everyone loves Tasty
The
Freeze.
survey.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
So if anyone has any ideas on other things to highlight, just let me know. I'm passing around now essentially a draft plan of it's the result of the tourism. That one too. There's a few more. The result of the tourism summit. I presented to the Economic Development Committee and got their thoughts and ideas, and I'll take any thoughts and ideas from council if anyone has any suggestions, comments. I'll assemble all the comments, send them to Sandra Tanner with Virginia Tourism, and we'll go from there. She'll then take that and create a boilerplate plan, and we'll look at it in greater detail and hopefully adopt it. Speaking of tourism, there's a great article if anyone has gotten the Virginia Town and City magazine, and if anyone's not on the list or not on their distribution list, you can find it online at VML's website. But it's on tourism and what makes a good tourist community, a tourist center. So I encourage everyone to read that. The next Economic Development Committee meeting will be on Wednesday, July 1st at noon, and it'll be at Bravo that month because Diamond Crewe is closed. They're on vacation that week. So Bravo's noon at on July 1st. The 100-mile yard sale is coming up before our next meeting on July 4th. And that's a great time for everyone to get out and take advantage of great yard sales, but also just get around the community because that brings in a lot of people to Burkeville and Crewe. People who want to, stop by restaurants and get a bite to eat or fill up on gas or visit the Railroad Museum while they're out doing their yard sailing. So I encourage everyone to take advantage of that as well. Still working on the website. I changed the colors around, made it a little bit brighter. But if anyone has any suggestions, comments, concerns, questions, let me know, and I'll keep chugging along with that. Townofcrewe.com, if anyone doesn't know. And finally, I'm sure everyone's been reading in the paper, Fast C is well on its way, going through. It was approved, finally approved. The reports were issued, and it's been approved by the State Department. The county sold a chunk of land for $4.7 million. So we're chugging along with that project as well. Looking forward to that and the economic development it'll bring for not just Blackstone, but Crewe and the entire region. And that's it. Any questions?
Thank you. Finance, facilities and parks and recreation.
Softball closed, they had closing ceremonies this past Saturday, so in 4 weeks, I believe, is when the state champion, well, the state tournament will start going on. I'm not really sure about the dates yet. I had them, but I don't have them on
It's
me
the
right now.
weekend of like the 19th of July.
There you go. So, of course, there's a big economic development thing also. We've been doing this the last 2 years, I know, actually last 3. Well, this will be the 3rd year, I'm sorry. And we always, you know, donate the cups, and hopefully we'll do that again this year. We're working on prices right now. Another thing is the 611 will be coming through next week. So that's another big recreational type thing. Everybody will be out there to watch that, and the economic thing also, because everybody will be around waiting, and they're going to get hungry. And hopefully they'll ride around, go to the museum, watch kids play baseball, stuff like that. The 611 is that engine right there, but, well, that's the sister engine. That's the 607, but 611 is the only engine left in this class, the J class. So it'll be this engine, and it'll be coming through, well, that style engine, and it'll be coming through on the 13th and 14th. It'll come through 4 times. It'll go through Crewe, go to Petersburg, it'll turn around and come back. It will not be stopping in Crewe. Well, it should be stopping in Crewe for people to take pictures and stuff like that, but it will not be stopping for people to load up, get on and ride. That was all scheduled from Lynchburg to that was all on the internet, and it sold out pretty quick, so that ain't gonna happen. I talked with the NS police today, and they said it was over 1,000 people lined up in Roanoke just to watch it come in, so we've all seen them out there. There's plenty of train bus out there. They will be out there taking pictures. So just be careful when you're driving over the 49 bridge, because they love that area. They park up and down Robertson side of the road. They're going to be everywhere, and just stay off the tracks. That's all I can tell you, please. Stay away from the tracks. And that is it.
Mayor, did we want to consider shutting down the 49 bridge for the time period? So to allow for people to now?
We don't do that, but that's the only way to get over.
If they give us a time,
They did one time?
a time.
Oh, no. All I know, I talked to what's his name today, he said that it's gonna be departing Lynchburg at 7:30. So you're looking at, I don't know how fast they're gonna allow that thing to go.
And then when they're stopping and starting.
Yeah.
And so stop at Appomattox, places like that.
Yeah, I don't know what their stop, they plan on. Yeah, we don't know. I don't know, we got a safety meeting.
Well, it's coming both days to you.
Yeah, it's going to the old,
13th or
13th and 14th.
all those days.
So it'll be 4 trips, 2 round trips, so it'll be 4
There are
opportunities.
2 days, right?
We miss it, if we miss it.
Originally approved.
It's a
one.
Saturday.
They said there's 2 days.
It'll be Saturday and Sunday. They're departing at 7:30 in Lynchburg. Looking at 3 hours that they go and don't stop.
We'll go and return.
Is it possible to get an approximate time range to put on our Facebook page and in our email?
I don't think the railroad's gonna allow that, and I don't think they're gonna tell anything, because you never know what's
They
gonna
don't
happen.
know.
You don't know.
I'm trying to get that too.
Gotcha. It'll be after 7:30.
Yeah,
Be there and be square.
yeah. You don't know what's gonna happen, rail might break, I mean, you don't
Right.
know what's gonna go on, train might break down, something.
Does this one let out any billowy
Oh,
type of
this is-
sauce?
Yeah, it's,
I mean, that's
It's
sort of
gonna
a
be
telltale
smoke.
signal that I was just
yeah,
wondering.
you'll hear it, you'll hear the steam whistle, when the 6:30 came through, which was, Tennessee and something. Anyway, that came through, I was sitting at the house, and I lived right over here, and you could hear it blowing the whistle all the way up there. I mean, it's a unique sound. It's not like a regular -9 or what you hear right now out there, the G's and EMDs and stuff. It's a totally different sound. But you would know when it comes in, because it's going to be people. If it's anything like Lynchburg and, Roanoke, in the way I've seen it online, on Facebook and stuff, they're going to be everywhere. And do not go in the yard and do not get on tracks, that's all I can tell you.
please.
Thank you. Okay. Public Works and Infrastructure.
Well, I don't really have a whole lot to report. I made a visit down to that sewer plant. Everything looks like it's operating pretty good down there. Down water plant, probably a couple of refuse prior to that. Other than that, the grass cut, it's in good shape.
Okay, thank you. Personnel, our vice mayor had obligations at the school, so she will be back next month with us and all. And I know this is a busy time for her as she retires and all. Public safety.
I don't have anything.
Okay. And Town of Crewe Comprehensive Plan update. The Vice Mayor has asked me to convey to you all that she had thought, she had set up a meeting with Kelly Hatcher to go over the results, and Kelly has a conflict, and so she will have these at our July meeting and all on our comprehensive plan. Anybody have any questions of council? Yes, sir.
Finance a good shit.
I apologize. Just right on the down.
They be on the budget.
I'm sorry, thank you. Police chief report, reports in your packet. Our police chief is coaching a ball game, and as soon as that game is over, he is to come in his clothes, his sports clothes, and get to our council meeting and all, but he's trying to take an active part in the community, and this is one way of being on the ball field. So, mayor's report. One thing that I did want to start out saying is that I know it seems to have passed real quickly, but I would like to thank the homecoming committee publicly for the homecoming put on, because during our work session there was no public people that came, but not only the homecoming committee, but the town employees. I wanted to say that officially. All of our town employees that worked so hard to get the town ready, the Kiwanis Club and all those that came out on the day of cleanup, and the vendors that came, everyone who took an active role to get it ready for us. A true thank you on the part of the town. I understand Friday night was really a success with the children, since that they had such great cooperation with the Crewe Burkeville Youth Recreation Department, and they didn't have games at the same time. And that's nice, because it is a free opportunity for the children to come and participate and have a good time and be in a safe environment and all. And Sue Williamson said that she was just so very pleased with the cooperation. So I hope that in the future that we can continue with the plan, so that we don't have an overlapping and all. I had something about the 6/11. Right after that, I want to remind everyone that 4th of July falls on Saturday, so public offices will be closed on July 3rd. So keep that in mind, that that the office will be closed and all, and that will be the day that is recognized for the 4th of July observance and all. Hope everybody participates in the over 100-mile yard sale, which will be on the 4th. And anyone who has in the past has thought, well, I don't want to participate because I might need a business license. Years ago, the council voted and did away with business license being required for that event and all. So it's a nice way to be able to participate without having to do any extra income. September 19th, I know that is a few months away, but September 19th, this will be the year that the Crewe Fire Department hosts the Southside Virginia Volunteer Firefighters Association. This is a big event. It takes place up at Hooper Park. It's a wonderful event for the community to come out and see the game. It's competition, the way of games and all that their skills and the various departments get together. My husband and I can remember the last time it was here. It was so much fun going up to Hooper Park, and the big ladders up there were out, and, I mean, it was just amazing how high some of those firefighters have to do, and they do all kinds of relay competition, and to see them, you know, to get their suits on and off, and then climbing and all. It's a wonderful, wonderful experience to go and see this as a spectator. And it's a wonderful way when we go as a spectator to, you know, recognize our heroes in our community that, you know, along with our police and our rescue squad, that keeps us safe in our community. So think about this. It is the September 19th. And there'll probably be more information going on then, but they rotate around to the various fire departments, and so this year Crewe has it, and it's at Cooper Park. Last but not least, I understand that one of our officers went above and beyond Call of Duty the other day when he was responding to a call. Officer Kinslow very bravely and under circumstances was able to prevent an individual from dying, saving his life by quick actions and all. And I'm just real proud of our police officers, and they have a lot. They carry many, many roles and all, and quick thinking and, you know, responding is really, really. I'm real proud of him, and I just would like you all to, you know, be aware of that too. So, do you have any questions? Okay, moving on to new business.
Mayor, I have a piece of new business.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I was giving everyone else a chance. I'm passing around a spreadsheet. It is, to the best of my knowledge, as of last month, personal property taxes delinquent for the Effort town from 2006 to 2014. And a proposal that I found while doing research for another thing that I'm currently doing. The Code of Virginia allows localities to partner with the Department of Motor Vehicles, and it's on the second page there. Department of Motor Vehicles to for a vehicle registration withholding program. Essentially, if you're partnering with the DMV for this program and an individual doesn't pay their personal property taxes on their vehicle, the locality can turn their name over to the DMV, and they'll put a hold on their vehicle registration. The only cost to the locality is once the account is closed out, meaning once the individual's paid and is closed out, there's a $20 fee per individual, but that fee can also be tacked on to the amount owed. So it's another fee for the individual who is delinquent on their personal property taxes. The town of Blackstone currently does this, and they do it in lieu of car stickers. And they not only charge the $20 fee for that the DMV charges, they also charge an additional $20 fee for their own staff time and effort in this. But essentially, it's one way to help get some of these back delinquent taxes. As you can see, from 2006 to 2014, according to these numbers, it's over $70,000 in personal property taxes base. And then when you add in interest and fees, it's over $110,000 owed to the town. So I would recommend that I guess the Finance Committee would be the most appropriate committee to look at this and evaluate it. And it's just another tool that we would have to collect some of our delinquent personal property taxes. And if anyone has any questions.
Council, would you like the Finance Committee to further look into this?
I would.
Okay. And maybe
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, okay.
And the town manager.
Well.
We'll come up with something.
Okay. Okay, so right now, the Finance Committee will look over this along with the town manager, and will then have our town attorney also look at. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other new business? Okay, continuing business. I have put some of the things that we still had on our list, and the first two all have to do with a public hearing. The first one is the proposed budget for 2015-2016. Is council ready to make a decision on our budget?
I make a motion we accept the budget as advertised.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that the town of Crewe 2015-2016 budget be accepted as advertised. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? A like sign? Okay. Now budget is. The second thing is the provision to the town of Crewe Code Section 42-66. You have heard what was in the advertisement, what was projected, that what we need to do to change, and you have heard the town manager's adamant suggestion that he is very much in favor of the 7 inches in 7 days. So what is the feeling of council?
I move we approve the revision to the town approved code section 42-66.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded that we approve the addition, the amendment, the amending of our cutting grass and removable weed code 42-66 to 7 days, 7 inches. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so passed. Okay, the zoning, the next thing I have on here is the zoning ordinance changes in residential areas. And I will just remind you that our town attorney has asked if she could have more time on that. If you all are ready with something, however you all feel.
Give the county attorney some time to work on it.
Okay. Okay, any other comments on that?
I agree.
Okay, all right. The next thing that I have on there is the HDLA grant update, and hopefully by the end of the week, I think they are to let the results know by June 12th. So hopefully we will hear something favorably by the end of the week on our chance to have this grant to help with the master plan landscaping. So that would be a very favorable outcome. Next, changing town election from spring to fall.
There would definitely be more voters.
And it would save money.
Okay, our town attorney has provided you with the procedure to go about it. It is on her middle page on the election. She said that she thought that we would not have to go to general, that it says the town does have the May election date in the charter. Generally, to change a charter, the town would have to petition the General Assembly. It is my legal opinion that this is not necessary due to the language in the Virginia Code Section 24.2-2221, .1. I have also consulted with various sources on the change of the election date, including the State Board of Elections. Now, I'm not passing this on you all tonight. I just, if you all feel like you want to, study it more, I just don't want it to get lost until you all say, we don't want to hear any more about it.
my only question would be changing it to, I agree that changing it to November, because every November is an election in Virginia. November 2016 is not only an election, that's a presidential election. Did we want to consider November 2017 as the first November election? See what I'm saying? So it's not overshadowed by presidential.
Okay, that would only hit if you still keep the 2 years.
Right.
Well, what all's involved in.
Every other.
What all's involved in that election, it's not presidential. You got senators and all that stuff being elected this coming November.
Right.
Single shot.
I think we need to discuss it more with our town
Yeah.
attorney.
I would also recommend that that the town attorney talk to the registrar to make sure that it's not an undue burden on them, or given that, that it's a presidential.
Any more comments?
But I agree that all elections would be.
I spoke with Angela, and it isn't. She was very much in favor. She thought it was a
Okay.
good idea.
Okay, so we will continue with this on continuing business. Okay, next, any other continuing business?
Yes. Some of y'all don't know anyway, the town manager, the mayor, and I had a discussion about what we're gonna try to do to help improve the playground, library situation outside of just having police department riding around in circles. Some of the things we came up with and that we would like to get into and start looking at is, this place needs more lighting, period. The front of the library has one little light, and that beams on the books with the return book, but until you get there, you can be mugged, shot, whatever, ain't nobody gonna see you. So we're gonna look into getting some lights put up right there, maybe some more lights put up around the park, the playground itself. Now, we're gonna try to do it the best we can, not to interfere with any, residential homes. But we're gonna see what happens. Also, we're gonna look into getting security cameras and put on the back of the back of the library, front of the library, and even on the park playground itself, to have eyes on it 24/7 with a live feed, either set up inside of the library or into the town hall. So, and it's some of the steps that we are looking into.
Lock
Locked.
the gate.
The gates for the playground. Yes. Also, when the gates are on defense, we're gonna look into putting locks on the gates at dusk and dawn.
Take them off.
Yes, hopefully either work with the police department or with the shop guys to get that done. Small steps that we're going to look into it and see if anything happens or if it improves.
Any comments from council?
Or suggestions.
Yes.
Is it in grant money, ITSC, or is anybody looking at grant money for lighting for parks or anything like that?
No, but that's something to look into. Would your boy know something like that with him being with Dominion? Let's get your ass, you don't mind? Thank you. And I'll get in touch. I'll see if I can talk to some of mine.
So the balance really ends up between lighting the playground and not lighting up all houses all night long. And that balance, and so, yeah, to be able to, but I think the fee, the live fee, sounds wonderful. I have no idea how much that would cost.
But now, we don't want to go cheap. I mean, we want to be reasonable. We definitely need cameras. Yeah, I mean, I got a camera on my phone. I mean, that, I spoke to Ella about it. With this, we had to have a camera that is going to get the individual face. I mean, you got a little blur or blob, in my case, if I was out there, a little blob running around, we don't know who it is, we can't sit there and say, you're trespassing, get over here. you know, have Art Booth review it hopefully every morning, like he does with the car cameras and stuff like that, or even when we get an incident, we can check back and stuff like that. But we're gonna look into it. I know the Railroad Museum has security cameras. I also know how much they pay them. I think they pay every 6 months for their system. As in the last meeting, that's what they said they did. And you're looking at about, they pay right there $300 every 6 months. So
Yeah, but that's for breaking
breaking and entering
the
and
alarm system.
the alarm system, stuff like that.
Triggers it. This would be different. This would be more motion sensitive. Just take pictures.
Yes.
So the initial cost, I guess what I'm driving at, is the system itself, and depending on your quality, that's where your price is going to be.
Yes.
And then somebody needs to be monitoring that. And I'm not sure how the motion detector thing would work in an area like this because of something going on, you know, a lot of the time. It may take some time and effort to sit and go through that tape, but so there's no point in putting it up.
Yeah, and like I said, that's what police departments
The
do.
good part about it, and Helen knows this, is something were to happen, like they tore the fence down, we could at least go back and look at that after the fact and see that type of thing.
Or if neighbors or people come by and they notice something, forward to the police, look into it, and we can take care of it. But that's the two things, well, the three things that we're really looking into, stuff like that.
How about the fee to the dispatcher that's up all night anyway? Is that difficult for them to do their job if they're getting all kinds of reports and then they're watching a live feed too?
That I don't know if that would be possible unless you spoke to the sheriff's office. In order to do a live feed, you have to have a Wi-Fi set up. So in this suggestion, it might kind of be counterproductive unless you secure your Wi-Fi connection. Then you would have another terminal, and certainly I would imagine that that would have to be an in-depth conversation with Sheriff Parrish as to whether that falls in our dues that we already pay the sheriff's office to do. I don't know that that would be beneficial just because the dispatchers are focused on 911 calls and aren't going to watch.
We would love to
shadows.
have it either here or at I'm sure at the police department, once they come in and they're doing a report, they can always, hey, let me check on them. Or when they get a call, I mean, these kids know when a police call is coming, or they know when a car's coming at night, obviously the lights are going to be a little brighter. At least we can sit there and say, oh, so here we go. And they'll have that probable cause, right?
That would be one way to
There
determine
you
probable
go.
cause. Very good.
Are you, who's gonna sit there and turn it on at 8 o'clock in the morning and watch for the next 6 hours?
No. We're not going to have somebody sit there and monitor 24/7.
No, I thought you said they would look at it when they came in.
Yeah, if somebody, well, you can fast forward it. I mean, it's just,
Oh,
you gotta watch
if
it
there's
in
nothing
real
on
time.
it. Oh,
Yeah. You don't have to
Hey,
sit
they
there.
go, okay, you're right, you're right. You're
Like the
right.
Railroad Museum, you know how we got to just set up over there.
Exactly.
Is that
Okay.
kind of?
I just think it's great that we're investigating things. We're trying to see what will work. And you came with, like I said, conversations with to see what their load can tolerate too.
So I guess what we want to know is can we proceed and try to get some calls?
Yeah, do I gotta make a motion?
I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay.
To see if they
General
call
city council.
Plus, if there's any grant money laying there, that we can proceed with that.
I'll try to also talk to lady, Ms. Franklin up there. I don't know what she does with them, but she works there. I'll see what she knows. Yeah, he can also interpret it.
Council have any
Thank
other comments?
You gonna be able to make arrests with the video camera?
Sometimes, sometimes no, it's not enough. And I can tell you that some of our businesses have cameras in them, and we've struggled with those in court to either get them from the camera itself onto a drive to present in court. There's case law that argues an officer using their cell phone to record the recording itself without the officer's cell phone being subjected into court, and that's certainly not what we want to do. So whatever system you do select, we just need to make sure that we are able to actually pull and export video from that system, which goes back to you can't get the cheapest available out there to do that. And then the definition has to be good. You're going to have to do HD quality definition with the nighttime vision as well. There's certain megapixels in cameras as well, and so you're just going to have to get a high definition one for it to be beneficial. I would encourage you to consider some kind of encasement in them. Otherwise, it'll be an easy BB target or a baseball bat game, and of course, that's going to be hard to replenish. You may also talk to, there's crime prevention through exterior design, which is based on lighting and atmosphere to prevent crime. There's a lot of grants. I'm sorry, it's CEPTED, it's crime prevention through exterior design. It's a community policing theory that crime will decrease with certain exterior advantages to it. And there are some grants out there for that. Hubble Lighting, I believe, is a huge supporter of that. It's something that the police department specifically has been trying to get to be designated a crime prevention community. And there are certain steps that we have to get to be that way. But certainly, if we were to fulfill that need, then crime prevention through exterior design money would probably be easily.
Like a list of that? Or
Yeah, I can show
we'll
you.
talk about it.
Yes.
Any other comments? Any other continuing business?
Quick question, are we planning on a meeting later this month?
No, sir.
Okay, then I just wanted to, quick update on our HEAL grant. As you know, there's a HEAL grant available, Healthy and Active Living, we're Virginia's first HEAL community. HEAL grant, up to $9,000, we're looking at improvements to the other park. Make it more accessible, working with the Chamber of Commerce, with Tammy Blevins over there, the Railroad Museum. Essentially, just some of the projects that we've been talking about for a while now. A bridge, rocks to help with the erosion, and also some signage up around the walking trail to make it more interesting and more educational, as well as a kiosk for information. So the rec association or the cooperative extension can put information on there. The town can put public information there. The Railroad Museum can use it. Essentially, we've been writing this grant, and it's, I need to verify, but I believe it's a 1 to 2 match, meaning that for every $1 we contribute, they contribute $2, and in kind is acceptable. And as I understand it, a lot of what we're planning might be donated. The biggest things would be the kiosk and the signage. What I just want the consensus of council and the town manager. There may be a cost for whatever's not covered, and we may request town assistance in some of the work. So that can be
kiosk.
Right, exactly. So that can also be in-kinded. And I just wanted to get council's approval before we submit the grant applications due at the end of the month.
I have a question about the grant. You know, the
Sure.
town does not own that park. Is that going to be a problem?
That will not be a problem. They, in fact, that was a good question. We brought that up in our Parks and Rec committee meeting. They said that won't be a problem. They just recommend that we get a letter from the railroad, from Norfolk Southern, just indicating that they're fine with it.
And I forgot to mention this. Basically, what we got to do when we get in touch with the railroad, what Alicia wants us to do is basically to let her know what we're doing and take pictures so they can put it. We got a folder, and she keeps up with it. I've never seen her. I don't even know if she knows. When I talk to her, she don't know anything.
What's
but
her name?
Alicia. basically, all I gotta do is let her know what we're doing, and when we're done, take pictures, send it to her, and she's happy. If a tree falls down, I take pictures, well, let's cutting it up, send it to her, she's happy. And I get a reminder that it's our responsibility, and does not fall back on one, so.
We'll cut that tree down and it falls on somebody.
As long as we
The-
take
the
pictures and send it.
kiosk-
We got the insurance in place anyway.
Yes,
The-
yeah, you know, they just want us to know, she basically tells me every time, it's y'all, you know, y'all gotta take care of it if anybody gets hurt. I know this over and over
Which
again.
my young lease on.
The kiosk will provide information about what is available to the public around our community in the way of businesses and all.
Right.
As well as healthy,
Healthy eating activity.
and from my understanding, the signs going around the walking path will be encouraging, you know, sort of get you going to the next sign to let you know, that, yeah, maybe you burned up this much calories or you walked this many steps and all, or,
Maybe
you know,
some
something.
fast
yes.
about Crewe.
Right, and
Little
that,
known things.
right, that it
Force
would add a
feeding.
little more interest, you know, to just the walking, the daily walking and all that there.
Is this a joint venture of the town of Crewe Council and the Chamber of Commerce? Because I hear a lot of the
Yes.
same at both.
Yes, the bridge is the Chamber of Commerce, with the help of us in certain ways. The kiosk is all us, but we've asked Tammy to help, just because her baby's the park, and we just want a relationship with them. But, the bridge is definitely the Chamber and Tammy's, baby, and that is gonna be, all that time is gonna be donated, all the labor and everything will be donated. All they're gonna have to be doing is paying for it.
It's not gonna be a conflict, is there?
No, not with us, no. Everything, the bridge has been about a year, and the kiosk has been 3. Every time we come up with a kiosk, somebody comes up with a better idea, or we look for grant money and whatnot. But, Bill was there, when we looked at the kiosks, he helped pick it out, he came up with some great ideas with the different signs and stuff like that. And the bridge will be, Todd's supposed to be setting up markers where that will be, if anybody has any questions or would like to know. And it's gonna be over that gully. I mean, we can't get rid of the gully, so instead of leaving it there looking like mess or eyesore, we're gonna fix it up and beautify it and take advantage of what we got.
It also will be handicap accessible.
Yes, it's gotta be handicap accessible. Our building inspector will be there to make sure everything goes smooth.
I got a question. In case things don't work out with the playground we got here, there's room enough over there for a playground?
Well, that's the last thing we wanna look into, is moving it. But if not, we talked with Troy, the guy that Virginia Parks Services, and we're still doing some research on that
What is that?
about moving it. If that's our last resort.
It is room over, I'm
It's
asking.
room over there, but we got a lot of other ideas and stuff that we wanna do over there too.
You
Plus,
don't want a crappy park over there, in other words. You just want it across the street from my house. I say get rid of it.
Excuse me, let's continue on the council.
I want everybody to be happy, and we're working to improve the situation. Let us try these things, and if this doesn't work out, like I said, that'll be the last option. The little playground will be over there. But we're working on that. And if there's room, I mean, we're trying our best.
Any other comments?
So if council's okay with me moving forward? Okay, perfect.
Okay, any other continuing business? Okay, public comments.
What is it gonna take for you guys to see that you're spending money, resources, you're wasting time for the problem that's not gonna go away? So you can pay for surveillance cameras, which I appreciate the thought of even considering it. They're going to destroy it. You can add lighting. They bust the light bulbs out of the lights you have over there now. They destroy the equipment. You can put locks on it, but they tear the gates off. At what point is it not worth the hassle? I mean, what do I have to do to have it removed? Do I need petitions signed? I mean, what is it gonna take for you guys to see that I'm serious about this? I'm done with the park there. It wasn't there when we purchased the home. It's there now. We weren't notified. Clearly, it's not a really big concern for you guys. I love what you're doing over there, but we're living in the ghetto, and nobody cares.
I think we do care, Tara. I mean, we've had meetings.
You say that now because I put it on Facebook, which is not what I wanted to do.
No, excuse
But
me,
before
Tara,
that,
but
5 years,
we've been
Steve,
working on this.
5 years.
Well, look,
5
I haven't
years.
been here, but I can tell you
Exactly,
this.
but
We get stuff in the mail.
we-
This is
you
a
are.
free, this is,
You,
hey,
this is a
get
town
on
council
board.
that has been here
If you
for
don't
5
think
years.
I've been doing anything, or
I did not
anybody
say
else
that.
on this board's been doing anything,
I did
go
not
up to
say
the
that.
courthouse, sign the
That's
thing, and
Mr.
go on here.
Sis.
Take my spot.
Mr.
I'd be
want
more
your
than glad
spot.
to do it. I know what
I
I've been doing for this community. I've been on this board, this board, this board, this board. And I'm tired of people saying we're not doing nothing. Every single last one of us here are trying to do something. I'm
Good
sorry,
for
I drive
you.
down here to my house. My
You
kids'
signed up for
bicycles get
this.
stolen.
You
My
signed up
kids,
for
I
this.
get beer cans stolen in my
You
street.
signed up for this.
And you don't hear him
Exactly,
complaining.
but I'm working my tail off.
Actually, yes, I do. At my job, I hear complaining as well. That's
From
life.
him.
Okay,
Be a part of the solution.
that,
I have tried to be a part of the solution. I have called the cops. I have disciplined children that do not belong to me.
any other public comments? Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So those-
Second?
I-
Okay, all in favor, aye.